Well, hello once again, farm and friends. Welcome back to the farm here on Farming Simulator 2015, and we are playing Manchester today. Yeah, Soul Mod is installed on the map in case you're new to the series. And let's see, when we last left off, I was getting straw out of the fields, and we did a short little video on gathering straw, and now we are up to the point where we need to go harvest those potatoes. I have fast track time. It is a new day. But we also have the field set so we can do a little plowing. So we're going to do that. Look, the fence have not walked across the floor. And yeah, that's good news. They've not yet wandered. Happy about that. So changing the tire mass down to 0.2 is help them out. Funny how little things like that work. Alright, so today's plan is to get started with the potatoes. We're going to also maximize our time by plowing a little bit while we work on the potatoes. So we'll have Harold, the hired helper, and his other brother Harold get out in the field and do a little work for us. And we'll get going. So I guess some of you guys noticed no videos on Monday and Tuesday of this week. Simply just because I was in a funk, you know, for the most part. Not necessarily, it's just it wasn't farm sim, just didn't excite me those days. You know, got up, got to doing my thing, and got it. Monday was Columbus Day, so a lot of people had the day off, which gave me the opportunity to do some Armo with the boys, and that was kind of fun. And so, of course, you know, getting in here and doing farm sim just wasn't on my priority list, and so yeah, took a day and just didn't do any. Hopefully that didn't offend anybody. You didn't miss it. There's plenty up there to watch. The live stream from Sunday, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I do know there was a lot of lag in there. I think we figured out all the issues, and a lot of it had to do with Recon's situation. You know, we've tried to do forestry on the dedicated server, and dropping that much wood on the ground has never worked in the dedicated. It has just always been a situation where if we put that much wood on the ground, we've had a lot of lag and a lot of desync and just some really bad situations doing it on the dedicated. So we moved to using a hosted box, you know, like one of us hosting the game on a box, and then going out that way. And it has worked in the past really well for us, but we didn't take into consideration Recon trying to stream as well as host the box at the same time, and his wife watching Netflix, and that caused a little bit of an issue. What really caused the issue was Recon didn't realize how much bandwidth he had and how much he would be using. I think we pretty much got it sorted out towards the end there, and it did a lot better towards the end. But in the beginning, it was a bit rough. When I realized that he only had basically a 5 meg up, and he was pushing the game, and he was already streaming at 5K, which is 5 meg. Yeah, it all adds up at that point. You realize, okay, well, you can't push that much information on that little pipe. It just didn't work. Alright, so we're setting this up to be plowed, dual plowing. And Y'all have seen me do this a million times before. It's just basically clockwork. I'll explain it one time for those who may have never seen it. I set my path up here. I'm doubling the working width of these guys because I'm going to use 2 at a time. So my working width is 9.4. How I get 9.4? Well, I basically have just done it enough to know that the 2 of these together is 9.4 meters. The working width on them says they're like 4 meters, but I end up getting 9.4 out of them. And then this guy here, the lane offsets. This guy's going to travel just to the middle of the path here, and then switch around as we go. This guy is going to plow offset 4.8 meters to the left of the center line, and then I've got the symmetric lane change, so they switch sides of the line every time they change their path on the field. That way it works all out. So that's what I was doing there. Alright, so we'll just run up here, let this guy do his thing, tell him to drive the course, and he is good to go. And same with this guy, we'll drop the plow, bring him out to the outside edge of the field. There we go. Let him make his turn, and then drive course as well. Should be good to go. Activated, 4-wheel drive. Yep. Alright. So this guy will plow the outside edge, that guy will plow the inside, and the whole field should get plowed if I did everything right. So I did all that off the top of my head, so hopefully I did get it right. Alright, so now what do? We're going to get the John Deere. Let's find the Deere. Not that Deere. Oh, Deere. Here, it's easier to do this. Alright, so we'll get our little John Deere here. Yeah, get everything set up. Get her fired up. Get rid of the IC and get going. So we're going to do potatoes today, which means we're going to use this guy as the chaser, and then we'll do the potato harvester as well. So I think what I'm going to do today is, I mean, I could do it 2 different ways. I can harvest the potatoes myself and set this guy up automated to, oop, wrong trailer. I can set this guy up automated to chase, or I can automate the driver and then I can chase. Either way. Come on, get out of there. So either way will work for me. I don't really care. Let's get this guy taken down to the field and get it down there. So anyways, had a lot of fun with the old forestry on Saturday. It was really nice to be able to do it, and we worked through the glitches. Hopefully that little bit of time live streaming with Recon and figuring everything out, hopefully that will lead to more sessions with the 2 of us doing some forestry. I may move it to my box because I don't have as much traffic on my network as he does at his, so might look into that, but hopefully I can get him to do a little bit more forestry and have some fun with it. Okay, get this guy here, and then we'll go back to the farm, and we're going to rent the potato harvester, and I'm going to give myself plenty of time on it because I do know it's going to take a while to get these potatoes done. So potato harvesting, we could use the normal one, but what I'm going to do today is there is a modded Grim pack out there. Not Grim, but Ropa pack out. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but somebody has basically gone in and changed the Ropa to a different color and makes it do potatoes. So I thought we'd do something different and use it. So I'm going to rent it for 4 hours because it will probably take, I don't know. Let's say it takes 2 hours. We'll give it 3. So I'm going to give it a shot. I haven't ever used it. Don't know anything about it. I figure all they've done is gone in and changed the fruit type to potatoes and changed the color of it. So we'll see here in just a minute because that's the game plan today. But this comes as a pack is the way I found it. I found listed as a pack. I bought that thing again. God, I'm an idiot. Oh well. Spent $15,000 on a cutting head. Anyway. You know what? And I sold the other one the other day, and I was like, oh, I'll just sell the other one and get my money back. Guess what? I sold it and I didn't even think twice about getting my money back. It was one of those things. Reset to the path. Okay. And reset to the farm. Because, when you rent, you get them delivered. Okay, so here we go. The Ropa Tiger, it's the exact same unit. All they've done is change the color of it. And now it will do potatoes. So let's get it fired up and we'll get headed down the road. Does take a little bit to get started up, just like it should, A good diesel machine is going to take a little time to get fired up. You just don't jump in a diesel, start it up, and run on down the road. You gotta warm them up. Looks the same on the inside. Yeah. Same unit. Alrighty. So we'll head on down here and we'll get started doing potatoes. So let's see, Monday I played a little Arma, played a lot of Arma, played way too much Arma. Tuesday got up, was going to do my video and do some other things here around the house, and the G27 arrived, and I spent most of yesterday screwing around with it, trying to get it all situated. And man, there's a lot of wires to deal with, but getting it set up, getting it configured for all my games and things of that nature. And so that's the reason why there was no video yesterday. The G27 and Farm Sim, I have not completely gotten that fixed up yet. I am playing today with a gamepad. Probably work the rest of the afternoon today on getting the G27 rigged up and working right, but yesterday I was working on it and ran into some issues with how my desk is and all that other stuff and getting everything in the right place, and so working on that, and as soon as I get all of that set up, then I'll start using it. But I did mess around with it a little bit yesterday. Alright, so I'm going to start in the center of the field, so I want to find the center of this field real quick. And I think it's like 63 meters, something like that is the center. Maybe 64. Let's see, we are at 120, we'll call it 128. So we need to go back here and find 64 meters. And we'll set the center of this field up. I'm using this because somebody's going to wonder, how did you get the measurements on the screen? There's an app that was out, or there's a mod that came out maybe back in March or February, I guess. This was created for forestry to measure logs, so people could cut logs at the right widths. But I've always used it just for finding centers of fields. It came in handy when I was trying to do messing around with putting sprinkler systems in and messing with that whole thing. But somebody brought it to my attention the other day. I've had it in my mods folder, and I just never use it that much because I got it when it first came out and I was doing forestry by hand. I thought, oh, that's going to be a great app to use. And then I never used it. So I kind of forgot about it. So whoever was that mentioned it to me the other day, thanks. You reminded me about it, and I was like, ooh, hey, I can use this for all kinds of goodies. It's pretty simple. You just download the mod, put it in your mods folder. It's like called tape measure or something like that. But anyways, you download it, you put it in your mods folder, and then when you need to make a measurement, you hold down your left Alt key and you just right click on your mouse, and that will set the point. And then to get rid of it, you can just do the exact same thing again. So, all right, setting GPS on, turning it on, just so we can get some good straight lines. Fire this thing up. This is a noisy machine, I'll tell you that much. Oh, we got potatoes. Potatoes away. Very cool. So I did spend a little bit of time yesterday with the G27, and I'll say this, I'm a little disappointed in Farm Sim and the G27. Had a great time with Euro Truck. It was easy to get it set up, no issues with it. And of course it was a telemarketer. You gotta love those people who call your cell phone and just want to bug you about nothing. So anyways, G27. Messed around with it with Euro Truck. It was great. Using it in the 8 shifters, taking a little bit of getting used to, as well as, you know, with all the different switches you got to use. But the Farm Sim, though, half of the thing is you can steer with it, yeah, and you can use the gas pedal and the brake pedal, and that's it. Most of the buttons don't work on it, which is disappointing. You know, I'm so used to playing with a gamepad and having unbelievable amounts of functionality in the gamepad that, I mean, pretty much I don't ever have to touch my keyboard when I play with my gamepad because everything is there. I can get in and out of the vehicle, walk around, turn the camera, do all that other stuff, and have no issues at all with it. And it's a lot of fun. With the steering wheel, I already see I'm going to have some issues because when you get out of the vehicle, how are you going to walk? Well, you're going to have to get the keyboard and walk with the keyboard. And as far as like lowering implements, turning implements on, doing things like that, there's no real, you can't use all the buttons on the G27, so therefore you're not going to be able to use, you're not going to be able to have the functionality to turn all your equipment on and off and things of that nature. So a little disappointed in that aspect of it. that you can't use. I was thinking, because I had already thought about all the buttons and how I was going to map them out and what button I was going to use for this and that, and turns out I'm not using any of them. Because, like, on the shifter console, there's 4 black buttons at the top. Well, if you assign one of those black buttons to do something, the other 3 are rendered useless. Same thing with the D-pad. If I use the D-pad for something, the rest of the D-pad is useless. There are 4 red buttons at the bottom. I was only able to get 2 of them to work. And then on the steering wheel, you've got 6 little red buttons on the steering wheel, and only 2 of those will work. So it's just really disappointing in that aspect of it. So I'm really having to make sure that in order to use the steering wheel in Farm Sim, I'm going to have to go ahead and make sure I have my joystick set up as well at all times, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to really have functionality, is to have the joystick set up with all the extra buttons that are on it at the base plate on that, to be able to do things I want to do without having to have the keyboard, right next to me all the time. And being able to control all aspects of the game, which I don't mind having the keyboard right to the side of me to, for an occasional button here and there, but I would really like to never have to do that. So, camera control and walking around, those are the 2 big issues that I got to figure out for it. And it may be a situation I leave the gamepad configured for things like walking around, stuff like that, doing hand controlled, like cutting trees with a chainsaw, things of that nature, and camera angles and all that stuff. I'll figure it all out, but it's just going to take time getting in there and messing around with it. So in order to make sure I got a video put out today and get things taken care of, I went ahead and just used the gamepad to do some controlling. And eventually we will get back to we'll get it all set up, and I'll be probably singing the praises of it. But right now, not real happy with it. Alright. Alright. So far, so good with the Ropa. It's doing a nice job. Alright, we're going to take a little break from the harvest, though, because I'm going to go ahead and set up. I'm going to go ahead and set up my chaser, because I am going to use the John Deere to chase, and I want it to be automatic if I'm going to drive the Ropa. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. This is a real simple task. I'm going to drop the trailer real fast here to do this. So let's get this guy fired up. And I'm going to back into the field here just a little bit. So we're going to use course play for this. It seems to do a good job for it. So I'll bring up course play, start recording a course, and we're going to record a real quick, simple course headed back to the farm. To dump our potatoes off. I'm doing this without the trailer because we are going to do a backing function on this. Anytime you record a course in course play, you're going to back up to a trigger point. You want to record your course without the trailer on the tractor. The reason is, when you're recording the course play is recording the course off the center of the tractor. And so wherever the tractor cab is, that's where course play is recording from. However, when you go to actually utilize courseplay and drive a courseplay will say for backing into a trigger point, it will back into that trigger point based off of the trailer. So if I pull in here and back this up with the trailer, while the trailer would be hovering over the potatoes, and I would think it would hit the trigger point, the tractor would actually be sitting out here. Let's see, I need to reverse. There we go. And back up. Now, if I was backing the trailer in, I would stop the course right here, and because the trailer would be hovering over the potatoes, and I would think, oh, well, that would hit the trigger point, we're be good to go. Well, and then I would pull off. Well, then when the course actually drove, it would come in here, and courseplay would then use the back of the trailer as what it was reading with, and when the back of the trailer hit this point, it would say, okay, we finished up the backing maneuver, let's pull forward. And it would never actually hit the trigger. So that's the reason when you're recording anything where you back up, use the actually use without a trailer on it, and that way you can get your course recorded properly, and then when it runs with the trailer, it'll work fine. It took me a long time to figure that out. I was having a lot of issues with it, trying to figure out how to back up using courseplay, and finally I sat down and read the documents on courseplay and figured out that it says clearly right there in the directions, when backing up, use don't use a trailer. But why read? Eventually I figured it out. And once you get that part of it done, then it makes life much easier. I have to be honest, there were maps I wouldn't play because I didn't think I could use courseplay on them. Because I couldn't back into like your grain silo. The pickup point for it would be a situation where you had to back into the silo, and I was like, if I can't back into it with courseplay, then I'm not going to play this map because I use too much automation. And yeah, it ran me off of a couple of maps. Then once I figured it out, I was like, oh, that's all you gotta do? Well, I'm an idiot. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this set up. We're going to be in combine mode, and we are going to be working with the Ropa. Drive course. Alright. Get this guy restarted. Oh, let's see if I can get this. Start getting that situated there. He'll eventually come back. I guess he drove up to the farm. Probably should have driven it right towards the end of the path instead of letting it start where it did, because it drove on up to the farm. It'll be back though. We're only 78% full. So what else has been going on? Like I said, I messed around with the G27 with Euro truck. I gotta mess around. I still gotta understand all the settings for the spring and the center spring and how much force feedback and get all that situated. But I really had a good time with it. And then getting used to using the H shifter on that and all the different range buttons, and use a range button here, use splitter here, and just getting comfortable with that. That'll take some getting used to. The only real issue I have with it is the dead zone on the steering wheel. I got a little play right in the very center of it. So I got to figure that out, how to tighten that up a little bit so it doesn't want to walk left and right on you and not have any response. It's like an old Ford pickup truck that you had to spin the wheel 3 times to the left before it actually would start moving the gears. Alright, we are dead until dude comes back. See where he's at. Oh, he's at the top of the field. So he should come right on down. Now, the interesting thing to see is he going to pick up the right side of the vehicle for unloading? I have had issues before with unloading potato harvesters where horseplay doesn't want to put it on the right side of the vehicle, so I may have to come in here and do the side offset and change what side it offsets to. Hopefully it will pick it up on its own. And it's here. It's way off. Buddy, you're just a little outside. Alright, so let's tab over to it, and let's see, the side offset needs to come way down. Maybe 4 meters. Let's see how that works. Let's disconnect him. Y'all bear with me. I'm gonna see if I can get this adjusted right so I can use this consistently. Pretty close. See if I put that down. Looks like we've got to go another, I don't know, it looks like that would actually work if I get it adjusted correctly. What was that guy doing? Oh, okay. Alright. Stop the driver. Back up again. Get him a little bit behind us, and then maybe he can adjust. We'll see how this goes. I'll raise that pipe up so he doesn't run into it. And now it looks like we're too close. And that's not gonna work. Alright, so back to the John Deere, and we'll see if we can get this figured out. Let's raise that to 5 meters and see if that'll work. I know, right? I know what you're thinking. Man, these guys waste a lot of time. But once you get it figured out, then you don't have to mess with this anymore. Alright, so now lower down the pipe. And trigger the offload. Oh, there it is. It's finicky. You gotta get that thing just right. It's gotta be at just the right angle to get it to unload. That's the only thing I've figured out about this Ropa I don't love. Alright, so we get our potatoes shot out of here. And we'll get it back. So apparently the offset for the potatoes is 5 meters, not 8 meters. Just about unloaded. All right. Let's see if we can send the John Deere on out of here. See if he's still locked in. He is. Send driver home. That way he'll go ahead and empty out, and the next time he comes to us, we'll be able to get a full load in there. Alright, lower our head and we'll get to it again. Alright, so we'll keep on going here and do our thing. Alright, so let's see. I haven't done G27 in Dirt Rally. We'll probably mess with that some point today as well. Though, again, getting my desk situated and getting all that the way I want it, so I'll have my joysticks all together with the G27, and I'm making a sled basically that I can just take, and all of that is contained on that sled, and then that way everything is pre-wired, plugged in. All I have to do is just plug in one USB hub and everything will be good. So I'm working on that, getting that situated and getting that all taken care of. And then I don't have to worry about all that clutter and all the wires and everything. Cable management's a big deal with me, so I'll get that taken care of. Then I might mess around with a little dirt rally. Somebody posted on the message on the comments about doing, I think it was something like Mr. Lumberjack, about doing some spin tire videos. I imagine that there will be some spin tire videos in another week or two. If you're a fan of spin tires, you probably already know there is an update coming out either this week or next. There was a big write-up in the developers forums about how they had been under some legal issues for the last 6 months or whatever, and couldn't talk about it at all, and not even mention the fact that they were in legal issues or whatever the situation is, that they weren't able to talk about it. So there haven't really been any updates or any modifications to that game at all for a while, and they did come out and say this week that all their legal troubles are behind them, or whatever their legal issues are. are behind them, and that now they could focus on getting out updates that they have been in development for the last 6 months. Apparently, they didn't stop developing the game, they just couldn't put anything out, and they couldn't do anything until they resolved whatever legal matters they had. So those have been taken care of. All I can figure is it's got to do with licensing on the trucks and stuff, because they copied them so spot on that even if they didn't use the actual names of them in the game, they probably are somewhat on, you know, copyright violations or something, you know. So who knows? But they got that. Apparently, they've got that resolved, and there's supposed to be all the development has been delivered now to be tested, and it's just a matter of time before they put a patch out. So when that patch comes out, I suspect you will see myself and Recon, even Landy, get into doing some spin tires, because I know Landy's a big fan of the game. He just hasn't wanted to play it because of the fact that there was no multiplayer support and no mod support in multiplayer, and that was something that he really wanted. So I think once that aspect comes out, and they're adding a Steam workshop and all that to it, so I imagine that when that comes out, you'll see some video content from all of us, because we'll all start playing it. Being able to mod it will be huge. Ooh, found the sweet spot right off the bat, so we can unload and roll at the same time. So the controls on this, they're the exact same. You use the numpad 0 to bring up your help window to tell you what all the controls are. And I'm just using the plus minus to raise up the pipe. Yeah, just run into the back of it, no big deal. It's a rental. We don't have to worry about wear and tear on it. Man, this thing's loud. To get in the cab just to be able to think. So the two fence have finished plowing over there on field number 4. Eventually I need to go move them and get them over on field number 7. So once we finish up the potato harvest, that's what we'll begin on, is the reset. I'll bring the chisel plow over here and plow this field, get it done, and then we'll start working towards resetting all the fields. I haven't even looked at the numbers to see where they're at as far as content. I need to do that. I can tell right now this field's going to need some lime into it. As the pH is down to 6.4, so definitely going to have to add a little bit into it. And hopefully we can get the values of this field back into check. It's not too bad, 5 and 2. As you know, we screwed this field up royally when we did the initial corn planting by putting an extra layer of NPK on it. So but it seems to be working good. But I'll get all the numbers and start crunching them and figure out what we're going to do. Somebody asked me how I did that. I really have gotten, for the most part, most of this mod figured out. It doesn't take too long. And a lot of people write, well, I think about using the soul mod, but it just seems too complicated. It's really not. Once you get the basics of it down, now, there's not a whole lot of literature out there on it and everything, but if you just mess with it a couple of times, you'll figure it out. And it's not that hard once you figure it out. It's pretty straightforward. And you get close, you're alright. I don't know how you can get it perfect. I just don't see that. But get it close enough, you'll be fine. But don't be afraid to give it a shot. You can always, you know, while you're learning it, here's the thing I would say. If you're learning it, try it and fast track time and see how your numbers end up at the end. And if they're not right, don't save the game, start over again. And, you know, do it a couple of times, you'll figure it out. Once you figure it out, it's pretty standard. You can look at it and you can go, okay, well, the moisture is the easiest thing to control, because you can just, you know, you get the moisture off of fertilizer, you get the moisture off of herbicide, you get the moisture off of water in the fields, and you can pretty much stay on top of the moisture. It's, you know, the N and the PK, that's just a dance that you'll have to do to figure that out. And the pH is pretty forgiving. You've got a pretty broad spectrum that you can be in on that. So the biggest thing is it just high demand for soybeans. I know we've got soybeans, so that'll be good. The biggest thing is, for me, it just adds the aspect of fertilizer actually matters, as does weed control. And having those couple extra steps right there is nice. The moisture is one more thing to think about. It's just, it adds more realism to the game, and I like that. And looks like the John Deere drove across the street into a fence. So, go figure. Horseplay runs into something. No, it didn't run into anything. It's just sitting in another field. Interesting. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and stop these guys real quick, so they're not costing money. And I'll run them over to the other field, and then we'll get back to the potato harvest. Alrighty. Thought I already ran through that other field with a chisel plow. Maybe I didn't. I'm gonna need to do that. So I'm gonna plow these two fields with the traditional plows, and then I'm going to run on the fields that had the potatoes and the sugar beets in them. I'm just gonna run through those with a chisel plow, or I could run through them with a disc. Either way, I don't really see any need to plow those and actually turn the field, because you basically do that when you harvest the potatoes anyway. So we'll just kind of go that direction with it. Let's see, course selection. We're going to clear out that course. We're on field number 7 now, and we're starting up here in the northwest, headed east, and we'll use one headland on this. That should be enough. And generate course. And this guy is set up on the wrong side. He needs to be 4.8 meters on the left. Gosh, I hope he doesn't hit the fence on the other end. Let's see. Alright, activated. Everything is good on that one. Let's get this guy real quick. Go set him up to plow. And then we can get back to the potatoes. Let's see, what else did we get comments about? Let's see. Spin tires was one. I know spin tires. There was something else somebody asked me about. Alright, set the course up here. We're going to field 7, northwest, east. And I know I can copy that course from the other truck or other tractor. I don't know what it is. I just, force a habit, I just always do it manually and set it up. Alright, drop that plow. Get over here to the outside edge. Run around. And get going again. Alright. There we go. Good to go. And let's see, we're getting this guy. Continue to harvest with it. And see if we can call that John Deere over here when we... There he goes. I didn't even have to call him. He woke up on his own. Of course he's going to come right as I get to the end of the field, which I would rather him not. You know what I'm going to do? Stop the driver. I'm going to stop him so I can go ahead and make my turn. And then after I make the turn, let him come start unloading. There we go. Now start driver. Let him get behind me now. That way I can drive and he can do his thing at the same time. Of course, I'm going to end up having to stop in a minute anyways because the he's going to fill up and probably not get back to me in time to unload me before I fill up. There we go. I don't know, we're 50% full. He might make it back. I'm liking this as a potato harvester. It does a pretty good job. Might have to keep using this thing. The only issue is the sound file, and somebody sent me a link about it. Where it was discussed in the forums, and I think there is a solution. I didn't read it. I know there's a problem. I know it's the problems with drive control, and I know all I got to do is get in and out of the cab to get rid of it. So I don't really worry that much about it. It's one of those things I can live with. Alright. So I'm going to take this video to about an hour, and then I'll shut her down, and if I don't get everything done, we'll pick up with it in the next video and finish up in the next video. Alright. Yeah, but these potato and sugar beet harvests, they take a long time to do. Cruise control didn't want to light up. So I'll make probably one more pass cutting across the center, and then I'll start working the perimeter, and then work each of these as separate fields. This is sort of the way we do it in real life. We don't go round and round and round in circles. Typically what we do on the farm and want to do my uncle's stuff is we start in a section, and he'll do a section, and then you'll move to the next place and you'll do a section, and then you'll do so forth and so on. And the way I did it today, where I cut the center and then I came back and forth, my pipe is always in open ground, so that way you would never drive over any of the fruit that's still in the ground. And then now I have a big section here, and I have two manageable plots next to it where I can drive around them back and forth, and I don't have as much travel across the head of it to get to the row that I'm actually going to be working. So it's sort of the way we do it where I'm from. Is he coming? Yeah, he's coming. I don't want to be driving when he hits the end of the field, so I'm just going to lay back a little bit here. Nice, that's working out. I'm able to hit that spot now and get it to dump pretty consistently. That's nice. I'll say it took a minute to get it all adjusted out, having never used that machine, but it's working. So yeah, now that I have two manageable plots here on each side of the center, I think what I'll do is unload, and I would work this section here to my right. We'll work it, and I'll drive up that fence row and go ahead and get it taken care of. That way, when we do start going up and down through there, he'll be able to get next to us and unload us. And I know I've got an empty harvester right now, so I know I can get up there without having any issues. So, alright, so we send him off. He's 94% full, so let's send him home. Raise our pipe up. I'm trying to do too many things with one hand. And then we'll come over here now and cut this front edge. So we'll get this edge cleared. Now we've got a manageable plot that we can work and be able to have our pipe always out to the outside. And we're not having to make a million turns when we get into the center. And that's, by doing it this way, that's what you avoid. You avoid getting into the center of it after you've driven around in circles over and over and over. You avoid having to make a million tiny turns there in the center. And as productivity goes, having to make all those little turns and adjustments, turning, backing up with a big piece of machinery, it's not as evident in this game as it is in real life. Having to make those little turns really slows productivity down, and it's also not as, it's just not as efficient as at getting the fruit out of the ground. So that's the reason most of the time you'll see most farmers doing nice long stretches like this, because you know, the equipment itself is designed to work in a straight line, not necessarily making turns. So when you do make a turn, you've got to do that, you know, not in a rounded manner. And so a lot of times you'll see people take nice straight lines like this. Now you'll have contour where you'll have to maybe work around a curve or something else like that, but for the most part, your GPS and everything in your system is going to work a lot better for you if you run a straight line. You'll maximize your productivity that way. And when you're farming, you know, this is the great thing about GPS. GPS maximizes your productivity. It lessens the amount of time you waste doing things like overlapping and things of that nature. You don't have the overlap on your fields, and that increases your productivity, as well as it decreases the amount of waste. When you're spraying, you're able to set up your GPS for the exact width of your spray, plus or minus for overspray, and that way you're not overlapping, so you're not using as much spray as you used to when you manually did it using stakes. You know, we used to stake the fields when we'd spray. You would take and you put a tape measure. You take those big long tape measures and you would stop the corner of the field and walk the tape measure out to a certain distance where you knew the tractor needed to go, and you put stakes there in the ground. And that, you know, a stake and a flag was what we used to do. And that way, when you came in with a sprayer to spray the field, you would drive the tractor to the stake, and that would be what you would set up on. And then you would drive off of that stake and go to the end of the field, turn, find the next stake, turn and go. That was the way you tried to maximize your spray. Back before GPS came along. I don't know that everybody did it that way. I know that's the way my uncle and my dad did it. That's the way I grew up staking many a fields. With those big surveyor tape measures. It's a lot different today though with GPS and the things that you can do with GPS. Alrighty. So I get a lot of comments from people who are having issues for the game, asking for help. The only thing I can give you is advice on things that I've experienced in the game and problems that I've run into. So if you're having an issue that I've never seen or have no idea why it's doing it, there's probably not much I can do, but I will try to steer you in the right direction. Ran into an issue yesterday or the day before where somebody was having an issue with the map not loading in, that it just got there and froze. If it does that, usually you're having an issue with multi-fruit and the game not handling enough fruit. If you haven't updated to 128 fruits yet, you really need to. Because if you're going to start playing all these modded maps that have the pigs and the beef and different fruits and washed potatoes and steamed potatoes and yogurt factories and all this other stuff that people are at, a composter, if it's got all that stuff listed, lumber mill, composter, potato washer, potato steamer, if it's got all that listed, there's a real good chance you're not going to be able to run it if you don't have that 128 fruit upgrade from maru.net, which is marhu.net. It's a German site. You'll have to translate some point, but that mod is a must if you're going to do any of these sites that have multiple mods on them. You're just going to run issues if you don't. So jump over there. I would call that almost an essential mod at this point, because the people who are developing maps are getting them to where there's so many things that are going on them that if you don't have that extra capacity, you're going to be having issues loading the map in. And if you're one over, it might omit something, but if you're multiple over, the map just won't load for you. You'll have an issue where in the console, if you watch each of the items load in, at one point FarmSim will just give you a note that says too many exceeded, maximum number of fruits 64, and that's it. It will not go any further, and you'll just be stuck there on a screen. It took me a while to figure that out. I enabled the console so I could specifically see how things were loaded in, and I would finally figured out where I was having problems back a while back, and then I have to go in the mods folder and pull certain mods out just so I could get a map to load, because I'd have too many of them in my folder. And then they came out with the 128 extension, and that has been a lifesaver. So make sure you check that out. If you haven't enabled console on your PC, you probably should. I'm not going to go into how to do it. I'm not going to do it. There's enough videos out there on how to do it. It's pretty simple. You just got to go change one little thing in your XML file from false to true, and it will work fine for you. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, there is a developer's console built into all the games where if you enable it and you hit your tilde key, which is the one right next to the 1 key, it brings down this screen here, and it lets you see what's going on. as far as what's loading. It's also where you can see errors in the game. There are some commands that you can do within it. By enabling that, you also get the wire screen, so you can see where the wire frames are on certain parts of the game. So it's handy to have simply for being able to troubleshoot while you're having a problem with the game not loading or something of that nature. So if you haven't enabled that, that's something that you want to do, and that should be when you do have a problem with a map loading, that should be the first place you go to try to figure that out. All right. Push it one too many times and I end up losing my guidelines. See my John Deere down there. Oh well, I just have to reset to get the GPS lines to come back up. But I'm not going to do that. So what else? I'm trying to think of the comments that have been out there. Still people having issues with Manchester. As far as Manchester goes, other than it not loading with the title of it, I've had no other issues with this map. So people have been saying some things about they've downloaded the map, put it in, and now they can't launch a new game with anything, or they save a game but then it doesn't work, or they're having all these issues with it. Never had any issues like that, so I can't really help you out with that part of it. Come on, buddy. Get off the fence. Pull him out and around. Now tell him to drive. So yeah, I see those comments and I just don't even know why you're having those issues. Putting a map in shouldn't change. You shouldn't stop you from being able to load another map unless you have some sort of conflict between two maps. And I have had that happen before. When I looked at Old Ridge Farm and thought about using it at one point, it and North Brabant would not talk to each other. They would not work. If I had Old Ridge Farm in my mods folder and North Brabant in this mods folder at the same time, I would have big time issues with North Brabant. Hello, Mr. John Deere. Run into the fence there, buddy. Let's see if I can get him fixed. I think he's completely loaded. Yeah, he's loaded up. Alright, now drive course. Drive now. So these guys are doing their thing. They're just about done over here on this field, which is good. There's that little sound issue, and again, all you gotta do is jump into the cab and that will go away. Whoa, collision. We got quite a bit done in this hour. We didn't get this field completely done, but we got more than half of it done. If I've got my times right, I should be coming up on an hour here, video wise. I know I have a 3-hour rental on my equipment and I still have 2 hours left, so that means I've at least exceeded an hour of time. So I think what we'll do is we'll call this video quits here, because anything over an hour is just overkill. And we'll pick up where we leave off, and we'll finish this up tomorrow. And we'll get the other plow out and do some plowing and all that other stuff. And just continue on. We'll do some fruit harvesting, get the rest of the potatoes out of the field, do some fruit harvesting, and we'll look at our values on the fields tomorrow and see where things need to be going. So that'll be in our next episode. Anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed today doing a little potato harvesting with the Ropa. I'll do a real quick look and see if I can't find where I got this mod pack from, and put that in the show notes if I do. It's one of those things where I think I got it off of LS Mods. Could have come off of Mod Hosters. It comes off of one of 3 sites. Really, it only comes off of one of 2 sites these days. I don't really look at FSUK that much anymore, because not much has been happening over there. I hadn't seen a whole lot of mods coming out on that site. So, mostly LS Mods 2015 and Mod Hosters. There's a few mods that come out on LS Mods that don't come out on Mod Hosters, and I think that's simply because of ownership issues. I don't think LS Mods is as concerned with ownership rights as as the guys over at Mod Hosters are. So I think you get some mods on hit the fence again. And we're done here anyways. I can stop both of these. They don't even have to go up the field. Alright, so for now I'm just going to shut these off. I'll move those. That John Deere's come down here, so I'm just going to sit for a second and get him unloaded. But anyways, I'll find this guy and I'll put it in there for you. If you want it, you'll know where it's at. And yeah, so look for that in the show notes. Other than that, that's about it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. And we'll be back tomorrow with another edition. And hopefully something fun. We'll figure something out. Our next steps are going to be planting and getting either beef or cat or pigs. I'm thinking since everything's down on this end, we'll probably set that farm up, which is the beef farm. We'll probably set it up and start working on it. Maybe pick that field up over there and start working it a little bit. Alright. Well, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you had a good time with it. Enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you click the like button. That helps me out. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I try to do a new video each and every day. And every so often, I'll just take a day just to clear my head and, you know, recharge the cylinders. And like I said before, if there's a... I'm sort of, if I don't feel it and I don't, you know, am not in the mood to do something, I'm not going to waste your time with a video just to do a video. So that was sort of where I was on Monday. I didn't want to just do a video for the sake of doing a video and would much rather spend time with my friends playing a video game that we all enjoyed. And so yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. We were going to try to do an ARMA stream Saturday night. That never worked because, well, it got really late before anybody got back on, and so we just didn't do a stream. So, but we'll pick up on the live streams a little bit more, and they'll, as soon as I get the joystick, the games, the steering wheel all set up and everything, I'll start doing some driving stuff as well. So. Thanks for watching, guys. Y'all have a great day. I will see you in our next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.